Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to another Return of Rome stream. With us today, the Earth to Iron losers bracket semi-final between Unrestricted and Vertex. This game was meant to be played. I'm just going to open this can of Iron Brew. It's not alcohol, I swear. We're not drinking on the job. It's just a cold drink. It's very hot here in the UK today. Yeah, this game was meant to be played last Sunday, but unfortunately Vertex couldn't make it last minute, so it was, well, yeah, it was basically late to the game coming, had some other issues, and we didn't want to penalise Vertex too much for missing the game, but just to make it a bit more fair to Unres, because obviously he was there on time for the game, and we waited for half an hour for the players to be there, and that Vertex didn't turn up. Yeah, we did get a message from Vertex fairly soon after. It was about an hour and a half late, something like that. It's just having some issues with, I think the electrics went out, I think it was. But we are going to give Unrestricted a 1-game head start, just as a small punishment for Vertex missing the thing, but we still wanted to play the series out. We have had it before where we've had to, in worse circumstances, we've just given an admin win, but we just, for such a high stakes game, we didn't want to give an admin win, so we've just, like I said, just the 1-game head start. So it is 1-0 technically to Unrestricted already. I think they've already done a couple of restarts. Like I said, I started the stream slightly late, so apologies for that. I'll turn my little thing off. Yeah, I was just basically had a mate come over and I was just talking with him, lost track of time a little bit, just trying to shove pizza down my face before the stream begins, so I'm not too hungry. Yeah, so the draft has already happened, but I think we're still waiting to get into the first game, because like I said, I think there's been a couple of restarts already. And like, even though there's the game 1 win, we're still starting on Highland. The draft and stuff will be the same. It just means that like the maximum amount of games, even though it's a best of 7, with the maximum amount of games we'll see is 6. So let's have a look at the maps that were banned and drafted. So Sahara banned by Vertex. I feel like Vertex has been going for those more mixed maps recently, and Coastal is banned. So things like Inland and possibly Rivers. I can't remember if Vertex was the player that picked Rivers. The Rivers hasn't been played too much this tournament. But maybe Ocean Ring as well. Oh, again, Rivers is the first pick. Unres usually likes to pick maps like Gold Mountain. Sometimes, I was going to say, sometimes it does throw in a closed map. Yeah, it's sort of another mixed map there. But yeah, Citadel's from Unres. We do have the potential of Citadels and Inside Out here. I'm not sure if Unres would... Okay, it does. I was going to say, I'm not sure if he would pick both of them, but we've got them both here in Oasis. Classic of this tournament so far. And Gold Mountain. Okay, there we go. So that's another Unrestricted favourite. Like I said, Highland will still be the first map. Oop, okay, so that's kind of spoiled the draft there. But let's pretend we... Actually, no, I'm showing it now. No, I'll play it. No, I'll play it through because they let me talk through it anyway. But yeah, I gave momentarily spoilers there because, like I said, it has happened. So it must have finished as I opened up the draft before. Because I clicked the draft when they were doing it, but then didn't reset it. So my bad for that. So yeah, Minoans and Lakvi out with the band. So I wasn't sure, but I imagine Shang is the first pick for both players, of course. And where are we going? So we've got quite a few water maps, so maybe Yamato or Minoan's going to be a top pick. Hittites, though, obviously, yeah, Inside Out and Citadels. Those closed maps is going to be quite hotly contested. We might see the Babylonians get a little bit more priority this series, but Yamato and Carthaginians being picked up for Vertex. So yeah, this draft's, like, obviously both players will get 7 civs, but we'll essentially have a spare civ. Looks like, so we're going to have that 6th game not played. Persians possibly being picked for Oasis, and Egyptians as well, just another solid closed map civ. Vertex does have the option of maybe the Greeks or Palmyrans, or all the Babylonians for those closed maps. We do still have Phoenicians in the pool, and what else have we got? Macedonians for Vertex. I mean, okay, Romans. There we go. Romans has been used a lot for that. Inside Out. Actually, I've just noticed you. Sorry, what's the name of the civ? Minoans. Oh, Minoan's got banned. That's why. I was like, it hasn't been picked yet. It's like a resident bandit. But yeah, Phoenicians being picked up. Another nice civ from the leftover civs. I kind of just feel mostly just prefer the Phoenicians to the Romans, just because that wood bonus is just stronger for the Phoenicians for more of the game. Romans do get the choice of their, like, being tricky with the towers, which is one of their plays that can be useful in the inside out map. Palmyrans is picked up. So what we got left? Babylonians or Greeks feels like probably a go-to for me, just because we do have those closed maps still available, and Vertex doesn't really have, like I said, Romans can be played on inside out, but he doesn't really have a Citadel civ. Cimmerians can be played on those closed maps, but I don't really consider it like one of those top tier civs. And Chosen, okay, so Greeks once again get left on the way. Well, Greeks may be picked by Riz here, to be fair. He still has one pick left of the 3 remaining civilizations. And what is going to be the choice here? So for the water maps, he's probably got Phoenicians and maybe Persians for the water maps. Although sometimes I have seen a Riz play Palmyrans on some of the sort of mixed maps. It is the Assyrians was the last one. And unfortunately, AoE2 Rex has not been working properly, so I'm going to have to go and manually check if the game has started. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. It's not coming up. They should have started. No parameters. Let me... Oh, I'm not in spectate. I'm an absolute lemon. So it's probably been going for ages then. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's jump on into game 1. So obviously you can... Actually, no, you can't see the civs here. But let's get into the first game. Hopefully we aren't too far behind at this point. So yeah, apologies for starting a little bit late. Like I said, though, we had a couple of restarts. I don't think we should be too far behind. But let's get into game 1. Like I said, it's going to be Unrestricted being ahead by 1 game from the start here. So I'll update it to best of 7. And so Unrestricted has 1. And yeah, let's try and get ourselves back at speed. I'll go to 4 times speed for the time being. Looks like Unrestricted was the first to find those elephants. Vertex actually... I'm going to go back, because it looked like Vertex was the first to actually come out and just missed the centre of the map. But he has got the Macedonians with that larger vision range, but Unrestricted using his Shang straight away. So some players do like to do this, use like a weaker civ, just sort of like as a throwaway civ and save those stronger civs for later. Ooh, Vertex going to lame hold the Gazelle here. That's going to be extremely annoying from Unrestricted. Villager may go down for this, but I think you could probably argue that's probably worth. That's a second villager forward. And I'm not exactly sure what this play is from Vertex, but obviously being very annoying. He's going to lose. Surely he's going to lose this villager. Doesn't quite. Oh no, there we go. One more hit. So very unorthodox play but from Vertex. Storage pit actually gets built in a slightly suboptimal place for the wood, but obviously Unrestricted's done that to try and not lose out too much on the hunt. But yeah, very aggressive early game start from Vertex. I guess maybe, yeah, because he lost those 2 elephants. Unrestricted, is that both his own elephants? No, I think those are the 2 other central elephants. So I think Vertex probably should just take this elephant home with him. 21 vills to click up now. So we are getting to the point where Twilage is coming in. But yeah, Vertex has delayed himself massively with all these shenanigans. So I think, unfortunately, this may... Well, I don't know what we'll see. I mean, Vertex has got a lot of points, but I think a lot of that's from vision score, because he's seen a lot of the map now. And Village goes down as well. And Unrestricted with the barracks. And barracks is forward for Vertex, but... I mean, double barracks is forward from Unrestricted, so he is slightly exposed at home. A lot of the players have taken on the sort of just... Once they reach tool, they just research Watchtower and just build a tower on the wood line, which can usually fend off early access fairly well. Vertex is going for that now. But maybe I'm just going to leave it ×2 for the time. Actually, maybe go back to ×1 now. But yeah, Watchtower is going up, but the clubbers are in before Unrestricted is on to Vertex. So I think for Unrestricted, it probably would have been better to just play from home. With the Shang, you should just be able to... He knows he's killed 2 villagers. Well, one technically died to the elephant. But yeah, still going for the aggressive play, even though, like a Shang, you could probably just play the economy game and just macro. But yeah, building these military units, buildings forward does leave them a little bit exposed to these axes. And all these villagers, they do have needlework in, and they're just going to be used to take down these early axes. Like I said, Watchtower is going to do some work. Archery tower already out in assistance, and defensive watchtower for Unrestricted as well. And 3 barracks, maybe 1 barracks too many. I'm not a huge fan of the triple barracks unless you're going to go like all in sling in the Bronze Age. But yeah, axes are diving through underneath the watchtower, and Vertex needs to be paying attention here. I think. Oh no, it does have the needlework in. 2 more villagers go down. That's going to be a bowman as well. House walls try and block up. That's going to keep these villagers safe for the time being. Vertex finally jumps into the tower. His axe has already done a lot of damage. There is space for 2 more vills in there. This other villager, okay, doesn't want to jump through. Let's check back on the south side. Vertex has managed to get a couple of kills back now. Yeah, this bowman just being annoying. Obviously the tower being a stationary thing as a building means it can only cover so much. And Vertex already feeling forced to try and escape with some of the vills. Maybe try and find some of the... Well, he's not found many, but... Oh, and that another villager goes down to the lion. It feels just like everything's just going wrong for Vertex in this early game. Does manage to get another villager pick here, and actually he sort of evens up the kills. Obviously, when games get messy like this, it does just massively favour the Shang, as when like food gets tight, just being able to have those much cheaper villagers means you can normally just squeeze an extra villager in now and again when your opponent can't. This probably is going to be another villager going down. That's a little bit sloppy by Unrestricted there. And the axes are pulled back now. And like I said, I feel like this is probably why Unrestricted maybe could have just played from home, because then like he could have just easily defended the attempt at the aggression from Vertex and then just played a macro game. But yeah, you can see just from the back and forth, actually it's ended up with 6 kills apiece. Unrestricted is 2 villagers ahead, just a little bit less idle TC time. Military count is 10 to 5, 9 of that is axemen though, so those bowmen for Vertex are going to be a little bit difficult to deal with. Another bowman takes out another villager there. So yeah, like I said, Unrestricted potentially maybe could have prevented a lot of this early game aggression. It actually feels like he's suffering more now. So Vertex doing well in the position, given that, like I said, it felt like he didn't have the best of starts when he missed out those early elephants, was just trying to cause disruption, lost those 2 villagers fairly early on because of it. And Unrestricted just had those elephants as resources. Obviously, Gazelle did get lamed to a certain extent, and yeah, this storage pit is obviously not the most efficient now. But yeah, it feels like, yeah, maybe the Shang bonus, like I said, just allowing Unrestricted to just squeeze in this extra villager here and there, so even though he's actually lost more villagers, he is still ahead on the villager count. He's just going to clear up the archery ranges now. There's still a little block of military units, because there's, yeah, a clump of 4 villagers, a couple already damaged, and the villagers can just be taken out so quickly if you're not paying attention. I think the rest of these villagers will stay alive. Plus another villager kill for... Ooh, okay, riddled these now. Unrestricted, obviously, with lots of things going on in the game to focus at the moment. And yeah, these bowmen should just get taken out by Vertex here. Unrestricted does see now. It doesn't actually have armor. Neither player has armor on their archers. And yeah, so become quite a messy game, which again, like I said, I feel Unrestricted has played into this messiness. And arguably the Shang are still stronger in this position anyway. The Macedonians don't really have any bowmen. I mean, I guess they've got the faster working archery range, so I can, yeah, Vertex can mass up those bowmen a lot quicker. You can see it's actually on 13 at the moment now. So maybe that bonus is going to help him out quite a bit. But yeah, still 3 villagers ahead for Unrestricted. But Vertex not massively far behind. Like I said, he just keeps managing to pick off villagers here and there. And now the archer armor is coming in. And this is just giving Vertex a little bit of a chance in this game still. Like I said, I kind of already felt from the early game that Unrestricted was going to walk away with this. But yeah, again, just the military units are buildings forward. It just means that the base is exposed. And it always feels pretty coin flippy in that situation. So yeah, like I said, personally, I probably would have preferred to Unrestricted just be like, right, I have the advantage, I'm 2 vills up, just play safe and play the numbers game. But maybe he just felt like he was a strong enough player to get this done this way too. Village is a little bit lucky to not get caught out there. One will go down. Bows taking some damage from the tower. It's only 5 damage a shot. It takes quite, so yes, 5 shots to, not sorry, word 7 shots to take out bowman. Excuse me. And yeah, Berry Worker's getting caught out again. And it just feels like Unrestricted's not, okay, he's actually behind on villagers now. Vertex doing an incredible job in this tool age to just master the messiness. And yeah, it feels like Unrestricted's maybe letting this game get away from him now. Looks like he's going for a counter push. This is still a lot of axes, and Unrestricted does Vertex does have a lot of bowmen in defense. So I think this isn't really going to be much. Yeah, 18 Vill kills from Vertex. I'm going to see a bit of a fight back and forth here. It's a little bit messy with the villagers involved, but yeah, slight numbers advantage. Actually, no, it's about even numbers advantage, and the reinforcements are obviously going to come in faster and Unrestricted. With, well, actually, no, it's only the single archery range. I know 2 archery ranges. Fights back and forth. No woodworking in front res. No, not for either player, in fact. Yeah, like I said, it feels like Vertex is just thriving in the chaos of this tool age in this game here. And Unrestricted, like I said, struggling a little bit just to get himself fully set up in the game. 6 villagers behind now. And yeah, I was maybe calling this too early. 1-0, but Unrestricted was given a free game win from Vertex being a no-show. Yeah, being late to the game last week. But yeah, hello Wattle. So yeah, this is game 1 of the series, but Unrestricted had a free game win. Woodworking is coming in now though for Unrestricted. And he does have the military numbers advantage now. Where are these axes? It does feel like at this point the axes are a lot less useful. And Unrestricted is going to finally be able to clear up the forward buildings. Neither player tried to wall yet. They both just still on that just first watchtower. But we might see a dive through the bowman. Looks like Unrestricted was ready for this one though. But yeah, probably some more defensive structures needed to fully secure the position. Unless Unrestricted can maybe get a big fight in here. He's actually... Oh no, I got confused by the visual count now. It's still Vertex ahead. 64 population in the tool age. Neither player... well, actually, Unrestricted slowly sneaking up, but yeah, Vertex fully committed to this tool age. And we're just all in on the bowmen. I'm just a little bit surprised neither of the players has tried to... Oh, this is a huge engage for Unrestricted. Vertex not paying attention. Oh my... This is big damage done. And I was going to say, yeah, about the slingers, and they have been added now. And this is... But yeah, this is a huge fight for Unrestricted. Absolute massacre of the bowmen there. And numbers still in the 20 count, but a lot of losses. This bowman had to replace, and now Unrestricted pushing through. See how much damage you can get done here. 1 villager down, 1 slingers. Not going to do too much against this many archers. And feels like Unrestricted now finally taking the front foot for the first time since the early game. Unrestricted down. Oh, okay. On the back here though. huge amount of damage done on the farming eco. 19 eco kills between these bows. Some of these might have been from earlier in the game, but yeah, 20 down to 22 villagers now. And despite that huge amount of damage, like I said, I would have liked to see some more defensive structures, and this is why Vertex did lose some of his own villagers and quite a bit of his army there, but the counter-attack was absolutely wicked into the backside. And that was huge. I literally said Unrestricted feels like he's getting his foot back in the game, and as I said that, literally went away straight away. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised neither player has added in the slinger, as you say, Water, like I was trying to mention that, and got distracted by the fight. Another villager goes down. 20 vills to 42. And like I said, both the players have had advantages throughout this game at different stages, but it feels like this should be almost insurmountable now. Obviously, it can still 21 bowmen. Where are all the bowmen? They've all been pulled home though. Unrestricted would need to get in a huge amount of damage to try and even this up at this point. Like I said, he has the military count advantage at this moment in time. But yeah, just yeah, again, neither player going for the walls. Pretty much just full open. Axes are going to run in, but I think... Actually, no, there aren't any bowmen at home that I can see. So maybe this will get some good damage in. But 2 or 3 villages isn't going to be enough here. We need to see like 15, 20 villager kills at this point. Obviously the Shang villager advantage is very powerful. It's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting for the rest of this game if it's going to flip over again. Like I said, it has been very back and forth. So we'll see. Stone mining on those slingers. Yeah, good slinger count now for Vertex, and those axes being cleared up now. But yeah, just 29, just all in on the bowman. It's been surprising that, like I said, neither of the players really committing to slinger until this point. Vertex with a good amount now is going to be able to pick up for some more villages on the wood line. Unrestricted noticed pretty quickly. I think he is just about going to be able to dodge out for those projectiles. Last remaining axe. Actually, there are a handful left, actually. Just chilling out at the side of the map here. Just one bowman just still being annoying. And yeah, like I say, I think not to beat... keep repeating the point, but I just feel like Unrestricted could have just taken the early game advantage and just tried to play a more safe game. He chose to try and push forward, left himself exposed, and just Vertex just has managed to do a lot more damage to the eco. Slingers pushing through, focus fire from the bowman, just chewing through the slingers though. Pretty even fight so far, just from how many bowmen Unrestricted has. Reinforcement bowman going down. But yeah, 4 barracks spamming slingers at this point. Unrestricted, quite a lot of wood in the bank. Okay, does spend that all now. And is this the point? I mean, well, we'll just see how the battle plays out. Feels like the numbers advantage slightly in Vertex's favour, but obviously Unrestricted will be able to get those reinforcements coming in a little bit quicker. You can see the units piling through the middle of the map. And yeah, Unrestricted eventually winning out that trade, but the next wave of reinforcements comes through. Vertex full pumping from 4 archery ranges and 4 barracks at the same time. And Unrestricted now down to 12 military units, and I think the eco advantage, I mean, Unrestricted has sort of caught up, but I think mostly because Vertex hasn't continued as much production of the villages. It does let some of the military get boned down, but yeah, you can see 33 to 11 on the military count now. They still have those axes trying to be a nuisance, and the bows did actually catch off another couple of villages there. It just feels, with the flood of units coming forward, Like, this is a little bit of an inevitability, this one bowman here just being annoying as well. Bowman diving through. And GG is called, and that's 1-1. So very impressive play from Vertex. Like I said, the game got very chaotic, and Vertex seemed to be the master of the chaos there, just getting in more damage than Unrestricted was able to. Like I said, I think this just comes back to, for me, in the early game, Unrestricted just had the advantage of those elephants. Obviously, there was a little bit of idle time chasing the villagers, and the gazelle got lamed a little bit, but the storage pit was still built fairly closely. Yeah, the second villager went down, yeah, because he tried to take the elephant, and ultimately he got blocked. And I feel like at this point Unrestricted could have just built the barracks at home, just be like, I'm 2 vills up, I'm the Shang, just play from home, build up the macro advantage and just play that way. But still went for the all-in play, and yeah, maybe it's just thought, maybe his thought was, I have the advantage, let's just press it home now. And yeah, he did get to that point where the game had, yeah, like I said, he was ahead on eco for most of the game, but like sort of forced back into his own base. And then there was that one point where he got that very nice engage when Vertex caught his bowman caught out. I'm not exactly sure what part, maybe it was here? Yeah, here we go. Because Unrestricted is behind 1 vill at this point. And he's behind 9 vills at this point. But yeah, the other bowman ran the flank here, which is what I didn't see at the time. So he got this really good engage here. Went for that push, and this kind of looked like I said at the time, Unrestricted maybe get himself back in the game. But then yeah, on the east side, just coming through here, just absolute massacre. Yeah, they did already have a few kills on them, but I think this went up to like something like 28, I think it was. And obviously Unrestricted was, I think, mostly focusing up here at the time. Just lost a whole bunch of villagers. Unrestricted actually clicked Bronze Age at this point. I hadn't noticed that. Obviously that must have got cancelled because we never got to the Bronze Age. Yeah. I think around here is when I noticed that the bowmen were in. I mean, I think there was no real reason for him to be scared, I don't think. But maybe. I mean, obviously, maybe I'm not a very aggressive player myself, so maybe I'm like a little bit biased when I'm saying, like, I feel like Unrestricted should have taken the 2 villages and just built from that. And I know a lot of the players just like to play aggressively in Return of Rome. But, yeah. I personally would have been like, I'm ahead and I'm the Shang. I'll just let the Civ carry me. But yeah, like I said, Vertex though, I don't want to take anything from him. It's not just Unrestricted. Vertex still had to play well to punish, and he did so very well. So yeah, that was, well, game 1, but effectively game 2 in the series. So Unrestricted losing on his Shang there is the other thing as well. And it's just the Macedonians for Vertex being used, so his Shang is still available. And with how many strong civs are left in the bank, I think Vertex hasn't got the best civs. Obviously the Romans have been fairly good on Inside Out, but other than that, it doesn't have the best civs for those more closed maps that Unrestricted has picked. So we'll see what happens there. I think AoE2 Rex wasn't working yet. It's had an error for me, so I'm going to have to keep checking the in-game lobbies to keep track. Actually, we might have been a little bit behind, actually, because I was. So maybe the game may already be up. Let me just check. Oops, that's the wrong button. Okay, yeah, so we're already away. Custom map, very good. So we got the Persians versus Yamato, and it is Oasis is the map we're going to. And yeah, we still are a little bit behind, so I'll try and catch up a bit again. So this is a very typical Civ matchup for this map. Both the Yamato and Persians with their pretty strong scout rushes in the early games, where scouts tend to be one of the strongest units on this map. Both these civs very good with the scout rush, like I said. Persians do have the advantage just from the early hunt bonus at the very beginning of the game, but I've said before, I feel like it's on the Persians to try and get that damage down straight away and win, because it feels like the Yamato's bonuses kind of just catch up and overtake as the game goes longer. And Persians do get access to the camel, which can be a factor if the game does go to the Bronze Age. But yeah, just the cheaper stables and the cheaper archery ranges and the cheaper scouts, the Yamato just gives them so much more resources, so many more resources to play with. Looks like the players didn't see each other there. Artifact, well, gets captured, so Vertex should know that something's going on in the vicinity. I'll just go back to 2x speed for now. A second villager is coming forward. I don't think that house spotted that villager there. And it is a forward stable. As Unrestricted is the first to reach the tool age. Like I said, as the Persians, that's not too unexpected. Only 8 seconds idle TC time. 21 village. Oh no, that may be added one actually there. That could have already been. I didn't see what vill count we were on. But yeah, 19 vills up, but a whole minute of idle TC time for Vertex means his tool age time is going to be pretty slow. And you can see there's already almost a scout out into play at this point. Unrestricted has gone for the walls this time. And actually, yeah, he's done quite a nice job of walling off this side of the map. And that obviously means you're only really vulnerable from the one side. It makes it a little bit easier to defend. Villagers, no needlework in, so not really going to be able to fight up. And yeah, scouts already with the +2 attack. Watchtower going down. I think that will go up in time, but might lose another villager before. Okay, the low health villager does go inside. Scout maybe needs to be... Okay, we're going to lose the scout here probably. For some reason we've tied that together with the clubman, so that's gone slower. But there we go, handful of vill kills already. Looks like Vertex lost a vill to an elephant actually as well. You can see he's got 4 eco deaths. But yeah, the scout's already in, needlework is in now, and the tower is in. But Unrestricted is going to know that his opponent is going to be having to collect food from somewhere. So this is where the scouts also come into play with the extra vision. Yeah, it's actually going to just dive under the tower here and grab these last berry workers. Vertex doing a pretty poor reaction of reacting here. Reaction of reaction? Reacting? You know what I'm trying to say there. But yeah, a few units forward now. I mean, it's just open down here, so the clubman did sneak around. But for the time being, Unrestricted definitely in the driver's seat for this one. But yeah, it does have to... There's only 2 workers on the berry, that said. And Vertex... I feel like... Well, this clubber... I mean, that's crazy, but that clubber got a kill there. But yeah, these scouts still underneath the tower just chilling. Some people say towers are too strong, and I'm just like... Are they? Like, it's quite easy to dive underneath them. I think the main strength is like the garrison space, but you can only fit 5 vills in there. And again, yeah, forced in, and we've got 25 to 17 vills now. Scouts in, but needlework is in, and Unrestricted is quick to react there. But yeah, Unrestricted just needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't lose too many villagers of his own on the backside here. That kind of was his undoing in the last game. We're down to 1 clubber now, and now we're switched on to bows. Where is the archery range? Is the archery? Oh no, archery range. We're actually literally right on this opponent's face. Yeah, it's only the axemen. The clubbers don't get bonuses to scouts. Clubbers are just their base raw stats. They don't have any bonus damage. Single scout going in, but yeah, obviously this game has got a little bit chaotic. Unrestricted doing a decent job again of just fighting back with the vills. Scout, you kind of have to have like 2 or 3 scouts to really do much damage. Otherwise, as long as your opponent, if you're playing it, the opponent is paying attention. Words, do excuse me. It's been a warm day. My brain's a little bit frazzled. Yeah, hopefully Unrestricted is able to get himself fully locked up. He's not under any pressure for the time being. It's just the single scout actually, and it looks like Unrestricted is eyeing up to die through again. And again, with these linking the faster units with the slower units, it always frustrates me a little bit. There is the house maze. I think these are fully shut in now, but obviously this bowman is just going to be able to shoot over, and that's going to be incredibly annoying for Vertex. He does have those few villagers. The berries, there is still a little bit of the berries left. One scout farm's trying to get set up now. Unrestricted, yeah, actually still managing to find some elephants to take advantage of the Persian bonus. Looks like that berries have just run out there. Some more villagers being put on farms. Yeah, I think, yeah, just bowman being added in. And he's just going to be able to range these villagers. And are we going to delete the house, make a run for it? Some of the villagers get garrisoned. I guess you could, yeah, just like use the watchtower as a gate to jump the villagers forward. It looks like, I don't know what's happened here with Vertex. Villagers are kind of just stuck. This bowman is going to go down to the tower, but like a bowman for a villager is a worthwhile trade basically every game. Villagers do fight back. Did have to delete the house though. I don't know where Unrestricted is paying attention, but this is open now. Obviously Vertex probably going to wall this back up again, or not. But yeah, a few units forward. Unrestricted just needs to be careful. He still only lost the 2 villagers as Unrestricted, so he's done, like I said, a fairly good job of paying attention. Only has a single bowman. Villager going to get a bonk in there. And is this villager going to be pulled back into service? Another bonk on there. It's just the villagers getting the last 8 KOs, 2 kills. Sorry, just, the main action was happening down here, but that kind of just made me laugh. So, but yeah, 2-1 Unrestricted using the early game power of the Persians there. And yeah, Vertex has just a little bit of a slow uptime there. Obviously the Persians, like I said, you'd expect the Persians to be able to click before the Yamato just because they have that early game bonus. I'm interested to see when that villager went down for Vertex, and also what villagers did we go up on for Unrestricted, because I didn't check that entirely. I think, did he just click on 20? 20, then dropped off, then clicked. So yeah, it's fairly clean, 8 seconds. And Vertex went to 20, but then I think he lost a Vill. Ah, there we go. There it is. So obviously that didn't help either. And yeah, he's like not really anywhere near the 500. I'm surprised Vertex sent so many to wood at this point, and then obviously he didn't have the food of the elephant. He went and grabbed that afterwards. So yeah, not the best of Stone Ages from Vertex here, and against the Persians, that's obviously not not great. Persians, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Persians, but the early game still is a very strong part of the game. It's just like if you don't get that early game off the Persians, they're fairly useless after that. But as we saw, Unrestricted on this open Oasis map was able to utilize the power of the Persians well there. Like I said, it was only that 8 seconds idle TC time up on 20 pop, straight into stable scouts getting in and doing a lot of damage straight away. So Unrestricted takes back the lead in the series. So we got ourselves some game. When you deal the last, I think it is just called the last, oh, there's like kill steals, if that's what you mean. There's like CSing, which is like creep score for creep kills. Yeah, no, yeah, it was just very solid play by Unrestricted there for sure. What am I doing? I'm going back to the draft. That's what I'm doing. My brain like froze for a moment. Like I said, the heat's been getting to the fellas here, the guys and the gals. Yeah, so we had the Persians. So that's interesting because it means... I'm interested to see what Unrestricted picks are going to be for inland and rivers. Like I said, it's got the Phoenicians, those maps. Yamato being used there as well. So actually we're going to have... Yeah, inland... I mean, obviously, sometimes you can just get across the rivers or the crossings on both these maps. Sometimes there isn't any crossings on inland. So sometimes you can just play for the land and the water isn't relevant. It's just obviously if games go into a longer tool age, docks coming down and stuff usually become more important. What map did we have there? We had Oasis. Sorry guys, just a little bit of a distraction there. I'll get us back into the next game. Yeah, so let me just check to see if the next game is up and running. Oh, did I mark it wrong? Let me go back. Oh yeah, sorry, yep, you are completely correct. I got a little bit confused there. That was the Macedonians that won. Thank you for the point out, Naz. And yes, we are into the next game here. I'm having to do it the old-fashioned way because AoE2 Rex has betrayed me. And we have Phoenicians and Shang. Yeah, inland is the map that we've gone to here. My capture age, I think, has just crashed. So I'm going to restart that. They started doing that a bit recently. I'm not 100% sure why. I don't know if it's just like sometimes when I like load into tab over to see capture age at a certain time, maybe I've got a feeling it does it. But anyway, let's focus back on the game. Like I said, I think we are still a little bit behind. That game was fairly quick, so we're just going to go on ×2 speed again for the early game. And we are here on inland, unrestricted on the Phoenicians, and Vertex has chosen now to be the time to pull out the Shang. And like I said, we do have an inland spawn where there isn't a central river. Occasionally you do get that as a spawn. Hectic week ahead. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we don't have the central river, but we do have a fairly connected outer water. A lot of times we get these pools. Sometimes you get like one map edge, but you can see actually the 3 map edges connected. Vertex does have the small advantage of his own private pool here, which is going to be quite safe to get some potentially a dock into. Although if he does take these shore fish with the villagers, obviously the effectiveness of those ships is going to be fairly short-lived. There's always more fish in these patches than I think there's going to be. Actually, I think I selected something else there. Oh no, that boar is... What is this boar? Oh, it is a shore fish. Okay. Okay, already some villagers facing off. Looks like the forward villager from Vertex getting caught out. Unrestricted getting the high ground advantage. A little switching back and forth. But yeah, looks like Unrestricted with those first few good hits in. The first dock is going up for a Vertex. I don't know if Vertex... No, he has seen here. But maybe he does assume it's a little pocket. But this this dock is a little bit vulnerable. The barracks going up from Unrestricted is a little bit off the mark. He has seen the houses here. I guess maybe he is just trying to sneak around. And not going for a dock at all himself. So Unrestricted going up 19 vils and only 15 seconds idle TC time. And only actually pretty similar, 17 for Vertex on the Shang. But yeah, very nice Stone Age from Unrestricted, considering he doesn't have that food bonus that the Shang does. And we have Needlework coming in straight. I'm not sure which town center, I'm Unrestricted town center, so get Needlework in straight away. Small walls has been the choice by the players this time. No tower's going to happen in this game, at least for the early game. Does this... Yeah, the dock literally just sees the barracks here. So yeah, I think these are just going to get walled in. Oh dear, that is incredibly unfortunate. I mean... No, well, this just is bad. This just is bad. There's no two ways about that. House Wall is going to keep Unrestricted safe for the time being. It does have the archery range at home, so a couple of bowmen's coming out. But yeah, these two barracks being walled in by Vertex. Very unfortunate for Unrestricted there. But yeah, like I said, he did see the houses, so I was a little bit surprised he went so deep with the barracks. But obviously he wasn't to know, excuse me, a little hiccup there, that this wood line was like as long as this and so easy to trap around. But yeah, archery range is forward for Vertex, so it's going to be him applying the pressure. Scout ship is coming out for Unrestricted from that forward dock, and I don't think... No, Vertex has seen the dock, so he should probably be building scout ships of his own to defend this. Bowman having a little few shots over the wall there. Walls are trying to go up behind the house. One villager apiece so far for the villager kills. I'm not exactly sure whether those villagers did go down. But fights back and forth. Yeah, Vertex already fought... Well, I was going to say villager camp, obviously. Oh no, actually, there's... Yeah, okay, never mind. I was going to say fishing ships, but the fishing ships have already gone, so it is just villager count. But Unrestricted, with only the handful of bowmen in defence, have a little bit of a tough time holding the position here. Second archery range does go up, doesn't have much food in the bank. He has started creating fishing boats, which will help him out in the short term, but... Well, by the long term, I should say, but in the short term, I think he's going to be a little bit in trouble, is what I was trying to say there. House going through, villagers jump into the TC, villagers forced idle, and these axes, yeah, two barracks were committed forward in this, yeah, huge investment of resources from Unrestricted, not really coming to anything. Barracks in his opponent's face here. Vertex definitely putting Unrestricted to the sword here. Villagers trying to make an escape out the back. And see if... Yeah, okay, Unrestricted did war behind that. One villager did get left behind. Sacrificial villager. Maybe drop off the 5 food first before the death. RIP villager. Maybe another handful of villagers going down here now. It looks like actually Unrestricted. Actually, no, that must be from the fishing boats being killed there. Yeah, Unrestricted losing control of his town centre here. He has moved most of the economy over here. And yeah, scout ships are out from Vertex now as well. So not too much to be done on this part of the water. Another dock is being attempted to be built here. Obviously the Phoenicians with that wood bonus can be restricted. I'm not really sure what's happened there, but the villagers not actually building there. Yeah, 8 bows and a slinger to just the 4 bows. These 2 axes are just unfortunately trapped in the wood line there. Scout ship getting some good kills in now. Good damage done. And Unrestricted trying to re-wall the position. Finally, the villagers start rebuilding the dock. One bowman is going to find the pit at the back, though. Maybe prevent this dock from going up. Villagers being pulled in. No armor on these this bowman here, so Unrestricted should be able to trace this down in theory. Yeah, walls do have some amount of structure to them, but not much. Yeah, Vertex just pulling easily ahead now on villager count. 34 to 21. Unrestricted has added in that handful of fishing boats, but yeah, Vertex is doing the same now. And I've got pretty much full control of the water. And yeah, he can. That's one of the easy things about like having an end to it. Is like he knows all he has to do is defend this side on the water, and Unrestricted will never get to his fish eco. Back to the action on the front though. I'm a little bit surprised Vertex hasn't tried to wrap around this side of the base. Actually, Unrestricted building a stable, trying to get some scouts out to deal with the ranged units. He's going to need maybe like 3 or 4. Or maybe 3 would probably be fine. Actually, well, I mean, if he just catches 3 out here, probably 1 scout would be enough. I don't think he has the armor still yet. These bows only do 2 damage a shot to the scouts, and the scouts do quite a lot of damage back. But yeah, the bowmen that are coming through now. I think, yeah, especially once the second scout comes out, Vertex should be able to deal with this. 1 villager does go down. But yeah, I think Unrestricted should be able to easily deal with this small number of units here, but obviously Vertex still got plenty to come behind this, and now scout ships are coming forward. Fortunately, Unrestricted has built himself some more scout ships. In fact, it looks like... got our fishing ships, boats being built from here, they're not actually doing anything. That's brave. Brave from Unrestricted to add in some more there. Axes starting to plink away at the dock. Archery range has been taken down. There has been this barracks just chilling in Unrestricted's base this whole time. Wait a minute, it could... Couldn't Vertex have just deleted the barracks there? Couldn't he have just deleted the barracks and just run through? Am I crazy? Alright, Ricamaru. In the top corner. I hadn't even noticed that. Fantastic. Ooh, okay. But yeah, we have broken through now. But like I said, Vertex could have just deleted the barracks there to get the units through. Unrestricted on double stable now, and 6 scouts going in for a counter-attack here, and this should do quite a lot of damage. Vertex does have needlework in, but this is 4 scouts. Actually, no armor upgrade in, actually. So if Vertex was paying attention, which unfortunately doesn't look like he is, he probably could have fought back here. But this is going to be a huge amount of damage done, and armor is in now. And Vertex, yeah, just completely... Yeah, he has those walls that he used to trap in his opponent. A huge amount of damage. Still, after even all that, Vertex is still ahead, and now the walls do go up to block the scouts. Have we chopped through here? No, there is 1 wood tree left over there. 1 villager running back through. Is that worth to open that up there? I'm not 100% sure. New storage pit gets built in a little bit of a safer spot. Unrestricted still with the scouts. I mean, he could probably just try and work himself his way through the houses there. Another watchtower going up to try and just defend the farms, I guess. Bowman might actually be able to... Ooh, dock gets denied. Might need to be deleted, actually. Yeah, that got deleted. A few scout ships, though, going to make this fight extremely unfair. Although Unrestricted may lose these villagers. He does so. There we go. The scout ships should be able to clear up most of the army now. But yeah, still though, army count and villager count, or eco count, I should say, very heavily in Vertex favour. So it was a nice counter raid by Unrestricted there. And he still has a good number of the scouts, but 10 axes now. So Vertex switched into the axes to try and deal with those scouts here. So is this an archery range going up? It is. I think okay, actually pretty good engage by Unrestricted. Manages to get some good damage in before Vertex really can get the engage down. So good number of the axes do get taken out here. But yeah, Vertex maybe not doing so well in these recent trades, but he's just so far ahead. Yeah, 18 fishing boats now. Just feels like he's a little bit too far ahead on the eco front. Unrestricted, like I said, doing a good job to keep himself in the game with those scouts. The Axes are going to make this a little bit tricky. We've got 2 bowmen on the field now. Maybe just try and kite out the Axes for the time being. Just trying to wrap around and get on the bowman. Axes coming into play. Needlework villagers getting in the mix as well. It's going to be a hectic fight. Unrestricted on the limit here. He's lost all the scouts. One gets made. But yeah, Axes still mostly alive. And the GG is called. And that's 2-2. And yeah, that was, yeah, just unfortunate for Unrestricted, really. Obviously did spot the initial forward villager from Vertex. Vertex doing the classic face plant with his villager there. Although, let's have a look. Oh, not the full face plant. Oh, it looks like Unrestricted did just notice though. So that was very attentive, Unrestricted. See, that forward villager got spotted out. But yeah, like I said, he spotted Vertex's base. And they chose to go for the deeper barracks. Which I feel like, to be fair, in other games this could have worked. It was just that, yeah, I think the doc spotted the second barracks, maybe? Yeah, the doc spotted the second barracks going up, and the villagers spotted it. Small wall being researched, and then just walled in both of the barracks. Nowhere for those Axes to go. And like I said, that was a lot of resources, excuse me, down the drain. For Unrestricted, just put him on the back foot. And Vertex was still able to get a pretty good push down. And there was just that point where, yeah, Unrestricted was just trying to hold the line. But eventually Vertex did break through. There was that barracks that went down here. Which, like I said, after the rewall, I think Vertex could have literally just deleted this house, barracks, because there's a gap between the wall and the house there. So he could have literally just deleted this and just run through. I don't know if he actually just wanted to destroy the arch range, because like he didn't go through the wall, so maybe it was an active decision to just get rid of the archery range there. Yeah, very back and forth. So 2-2 at this point. And then let's jump into the next one. So if we go back to the draft real quick. We had the Shang winning out for Vertex against the Phoenicians there. And that was on our inlands map. So, Unrestricted presumably going to take us to one of his maps now. So even though he lost before, he took us to Oasis after the Highlands win for Vertex. So we may see the Citadel's inside out at this point. Like I said, Citadels, I'm not really sure what Vertex's civ is going to be for the Citadels here. Like, you've got to feel like Egyptians or Hittites or even Palmyrians are going to be a shoe-in against most of the civilizations, if not all of them here. So it's going to be a little bit difficult. I think the next game may have already started, because like I said, I think we're still a small amount of time behind. So we'll just have a look, see if the next game has been launched. Yep, we are in. So into the next game, 2-2 in the series of this best of 7. I mean, yeah, Vertex is a very strong player. I feel like he just hasn't taken the game as seriously as some of the other players in the past. I don't know about number 1 with Say My Name, but number 2, I could see that. Top 3 for sure. Oh, okay, we have actually caught up because we are we're in the spectator delay load. So we have the Hittites versus the Chosen. So I'm presuming this is either Inside Out or Citadels. I think probably more likely to be Citadels, with the Hittites being chosen. Feels like the Hittites have been found to be a little bit vulnerable on the Inside Out map these days. By the stronger players at least. Chosen, similar to the Romans in the early game, but I feel like just not having that discount on the buildings just makes the Chosen early game just a little bit too much weaker to try and take advantage of the early game. But I mean, I think we still may see forward tower play from Vertex. And I think it was KT that won a game with the Chosen against. I think it might have actually been against Vertex in an absolute KT classic. It was nice to see him get a win on his Civ there. Was that Citadel's? I think it was Citadel's. I could be misremembering. But yeah, had up the priests out and everything. As we get ourselves loaded in. Yeah, it is Citadel's. There's the map. And in we go. And so, here we are. I don't know why my capture just goes slightly slow. Okay, it's caught up now. Let's have a look. So yeah, Vertex, like I said, on the Chosen. Unrestricted, already deleting the back of his walls, just to give him a bit more access to the wood lines. Yep, the Hittites for Unrestricted. Classically considered one of the best, if not the best civs. Obviously the Egyptians are usually up in the conversation as well. But Unrestricted has both of those civs in his draft. And it's going to be interesting to see how Vertex does choose to play this out. I feel like he probably... Excuse me, I don't like that house, but I've not left enough space for a farm here. What's this about? But yeah, I feel like it'd be in Vertex's interest to try and get some early damage out against the Hittites, as the Hittite death ball of the chariot archers with the followed up stone throwers is just very difficult to deal with once that's in full flow. I feel like I've seen Unrestricted lose using the Hittites on inside out against the Romans. I can't remember who that was against. Maybe that was against Yeti. No, Bongo, sorry. And I feel like that was the game where Unrestricted like tapped out, and I felt like it was way too early for him to tap out. I could be or maybe actually it might be. I'm not sure now. I feel like there was a series where someone was playing Hittites and someone was playing Romans, and the Roman player somehow won. Obviously, like I said, Romans, I feel like are a little bit stronger than the Chosen, for the most part. Like I said, we will have to see how this game does play out. And it's a little bit of a shame that this is the one time we've actually caught up, and the early game means less, like I say, because we'll fast forward a little bit for most of the other early games, whereas Citadel's is usually not too much to talk about because the map's spawn is very standard. Yeah, you just have the one berries forward, and as I normally say, it's usually a good idea to try and grab those as your second berries, just so that you grab those before the action kicks off, and then you can go and use these as your reserve berries for later on. Unrestricted berries are a little bit forward, so if things get a bit hot, Vertex tries to push stuff forward, that could be a little bit awkward for Unrestricted. Might force him onto farms a little bit earlier. Might be a little bit difficult to defend that berry spot. As Vertex does still have 6 villagers in the queue. I've seen it many times where people just use as much food as possible and then they just cancel down. Yeah, because he's definitely not going to build 8 villagers before clicking Tool Age. That'd be absolute madness. Unrestricted with 5 in the queue himself, and he has made the pop space. Here you can see, yeah, all the villagers get cancelled now, and he's cancelled that one last villager, and click up, Vertex, click up, Vertex. Oh, he's not made the second building. Oh, big mistake by Vertex. Very big mistake. And that's going to delay. I'm pretty sure he would have been able to click up on about something like 12-14 seconds. And I mean, it's gone up on 20 vills, which is a usual sign that you're going to try and go for forward play. And And that's, yeah, you can see 1 second idle TC time for Unrestricted on the 23 pop up. 2 clubbers in queue as well. And if Unrestricted can get these clubbers out searching for that villager, this could almost be game over for Vertex before the game's even really begun. Is the village? Yeah, he's blocked off the gate here for the time being. Cleberer is just chilling on the outside though. Vertex will get the barracks down, but like I said, he's delayed his uptime. He's only going to be about 20 seconds ahead of Unrestricted. And yeah, like I said, we're going for the granary now. And if Vertex does get this to stick, then this is maybe a problem for Unrestricted. It does have 1 elephant left. But as it stands, I mean, Unrestricted's a little bit shy on food. He did make those 3 clubbers, that's 150 food invested. Does have a villager in queue. And he's going for axe upgrade as well. So possibly, and stone wall, small wall, sorry. So maybe, yeah, no, maybe it looks like Unrestricted actually committing to the Bronze Age, Tool Age. It's a little bit surprising. The Watchtower is in. Yeah, the Hittites, when you don't have the Slinger, it's a little bit difficult to deal with those towers. First Slinger coming through now, and Axe are going to try and get rid of those extra early Slingers, I suspect. There we go. And this may stop the push for the time being, but these villagers are going to be able to put up a tower, potentially. 2 villagers are on stone. That may just be for Slinger production. Archery range being built. So Unrestricted does a good job at delaying the initial push. But simultaneously, this means Unrestricted is going to be stuck in the Tool Age himself for the foreseeable future. These axes are kind of be... Okay, that was quite smart to bring him back to the bowman here. Bowman not going to be able to do too much with the Slingers in tow though. And the Restricted's probably just going to lose this bowman here. So yeah, it's an interesting choice. Both players on 28 vills now. Which surprises me. How are we on equal villager count? I guess needlework got researched by Unrestricted. Yes, and I guess... Yeah, no needlework for Vertex. I guess that makes sense. He's on the forward. These villagers, are they just outside of bow range? Is it worth deleting a small wall to get these bows out on these villagers? There is a Slinger out there to protect. Oh, he just deletes the wall here. Needs to take down the villagers, really. I think the villagers are the more important thing. Again, no needlework in. And Watchtower gets denied. 91% tower. And this is very important because, like I said, it's difficult to deal with those towers in the Tool Age when you don't have the Slinger. I mean, if you can get a good number of axes, then that can be a good way of dealing it, but that, if you go axes, that gives your opponent a chance to shoot those axes down with their own units. So this has been a very interesting game so far. Still feels like very much on a knife's edge. Both players on 31 villager count. Military count just in the favour of Unrestricted. Very even game, but yeah, like I said, this Watchtower being denied, pretty big. Unrestricted probably is going to need to re-wall at some point. Yeah, just... It's interesting that Vertex is choosing to switch more into the bowman. Would have thought it'd be more advisable to just stick with the Slinger, because bowman into Hittite bowman just feels like a risky play. These axes doing a very good job of being annoying against the Slingers. And Unrestricted walls in the tower, as well as gives himself access to the berries there. And this is a very interesting game. feel like a lot of Citadel's games don't end up going long because, like, it's usually one player going for that fast bronze versus one player going for the rush, and it's like it either goes wrong or it doesn't. But here, because Unrestricted didn't commit to the fast bronze, we've just ended up in this elongated tool age play. Actually, there's no stone mining in for Vertex, I've just noticed. I don't know if he's just forgotten. Maybe I don't know if he must assume he has it at this point. He wouldn't have made this many slingers and not chosen not to get the upgrade. Stone mining such a huge upgrade for those slingers. Yeah, unrestricted going to be able to just clear up the forward for the most part here. A couple of slingers going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but should be fairly easy for Unrestricted to deal with those. And yeah, I'm just thinking what the next step is. Actually, next step is Vertex clicking to Bronze Age. Again, he doesn't have a building. They're going to need to get a second building up. He is building the stable. Okay, it's not going to be too bad. So, in a flip of the scripts, it's actually going to be Vertex that's going to reach the Bronze Age first. Unrestricted is on 20 Bowman now. Again, he doesn't have Slinger, so it's difficult to go for a push himself. 8 axes can do quite a bit of damage if he wants to try and punch through his opponent's base. I feel like Unrestricted should realise at this point that Vertex has stopped committing to the tool age. Yeah, Vertex getting himself onto gold as well now. And yeah, I was going to say, probably going to go cavalry out of the gate just to clear up that bowman mass, and then I guess if he can get control, then he'll start swapping into the potentially into those swordsmen, and then maybe continue with the tower play. Unrestricted has a chance to put on the pressure now, and we've got the classic domestication after building all the farms. This one always tickles me a bit, because it's like this won't pay itself off until like another 15 minutes into the game, because he's already built all these farms. But anyway, Bronze Age is in for Vertex. Only one military unit, but now yeah, cavalry in the queue. Obviously, Chosen don't get access to those chariots, so it is going to have to be the gold units to be relied on. You do have plenty of gold inside the walls, quite a lot outside as well. Wheels coming in obviously just for the eco benefit to the villagers, and Unrestricted is obviously going to start whacking down the gate here, and should be able to get through fairly quickly with just the massive units he has. Watchtower is going to go down in defense. Not much food in the bank for Vertex. Is a little bit heavy on wood at the moment. Another archery range going down. First wave of cavalry is going to be in, but this is more than enough units to deal with a small number of cavalry units. So Unrestricted definitely going to be able to put the foot down. 1400 wood in the bank, I've just realised, for Unrestricted, as he gets himself into the Bronze Age himself, and he can start transitioning into the chariot archer behind him. He needs to research click wheel, hopefully at some point that will happen. Yes, very interesting position we are in. This bowman coming forward. He's left these bowmen a little bit exposed to the cavalry. The axemen, there we go, getting pulled back in to place. That axe bonus damage, I think it's +4. Yeah, +4 cavalry damage does apply to the cavalry, so they can be quite effective there. Siege Workshop went down straight away for Vertex. He's getting a stone throw. He's trying to get a flank onto the bows. Bowmen do have the +4 armor. I did see that come in, as wheel does come in now. Unrestricted. I presume all these blocks are archery ranges, but we'll focus back here for the time being. And Unrestricted, not a huge amount of damage done to the eco just yet, but has got himself a fairly... Actually, no, that's a... Yeah, about the lead of 5, to be fair. It's only a handful on top of that. But yeah, cavalry being picked off by these leftover bows. Like, these are Hittite bowmen, so they still do the same amount of damage as a regular chariot archer does. Obviously a little bit more squishy. The stone thrower is going to be a little bit difficult now. That might be a big hit. Ooh, just on the edge there. But yeah, Unrestricted dancing back and forth. Yeah, I think he just does need to just dive in with the axes here just to buy himself some breathing room. I mean, you can argue at the end of the day it doesn't really matter what happens to these units. He's just trying to hold the position for the chariot archer numbers to come in the background. So Unrestricted in a very good position now, despite being later to the Bronze Age. Vertex just not making any military units on his way up to Bronze himself. He's left him a little bit exposed here. Most of the axes go down, but importantly the stone thrower got taken out, and the big massive bowman's still left. Villagers on the gold are going to be pushed away, and it's going to mean Vertex, at least for the time being, pushed off gold. He does have the gold spot up here. Might have to build a new pit. He does have the resources to do so. Gold out the front as well. But for the time being, the stone thrower comes out. The chariot archer mass is coming in. And yeah, the houses have re-walled. This is going to be a big hit. Lots of bows go down, which is not ideal. But at the same time, you can argue that these bowmen kind of have already done their job. I'm not really sure why Unrestricted. Maybe he just assumes this has been re-walled because he's not seeing the houses there. He is eventually going to get himself through. One axe is still left. Maybe going to be able to finish off the... Actually, no, cavalry does get the hit in there. Nice little bit of split formation. Does let him get the finishing blow. And yeah, it's getting gold against... Yeah, TC went up on the gold. But Chosen... So Vertex, very limited for gold at the moment. All important resource for the Chosen, which is I guess where I was going with that comment. The leftover Slinger gets taken down. Tower still in defense. Does have the extra range. Still didn't go for the Sentry Tower upgrade. Guess it's not really worth it when you've only got the one tower in defense. This stone thrower is just going to go down straight away. Just this Hittite chariot archer is so powerful. I think this is probably going to be the GG. Now, it was a very interesting game, but Unrestricted holding the position well there. And like I said, it was a very tense back and forth in that Tool Age. And that's like, I think this is one of the closest Citadel games I've seen in a while. Obviously, Unrestricted getting the advantage towards the end there meant that it was probably going to be very much in favour. But in the Tool Age, like I said, it's normally one player tries to sneak the fast bronze. Unrestricted decided to play more safely, committed more to those, to the Tool Age. Vertex, again, there was the slight mistake of not getting the storage pit down. He was actually short. He was just a little bit short on wood for the storage pit to come down. But I've got a little bit too far back there. But like, yeah, because he was on 2 seconds here. If I just skip forward again. What were we on? So it was again on a handful of seconds and it finished on something like 34, 38 what it was at the end. So just slightly fumbled early game, cost him about 30 seconds, which is very important in a game like this where timing is everything for the rush. Maybe Unrestricted could have held it anyway because he didn't commit to that Bronze Age, but obviously 30 seconds fast just means 30 seconds earlier for getting like a clubber out into play, that first clubber, potentially maybe a slinger out earlier as well. And in those early fights, just like an extra unit here or there can make all the difference when the numbers are just like a handful of military units for both players. But yeah, very solid hold for Unrestricted. And like I said, there was this moment here when I was questioning whether or not you did delete the wall and go out the gate. Unrestricted just decided to delete this wall, which I think I still would have preferred to delete the small wall and go through the gate, because then he wouldn't have had to re-wall. But this way gave him like more instant access, I guess. But yeah, the tower being denied here, that kind of stopped the momentum of the push. And the other thing as well is I don't think Vertex ever got stone mining in. I presume he just must have assumed he had it. because there was that one slinger left over quite well into the game. Yeah, he still doesn't have Bronze Age in. Yes, that last slinger, stone mining never came in. It makes quite a big difference to the power of the slinger in the early game against other military units. But yeah, very nice game from Unrestricted there. But well played to both players. But yeah, Unrestricted sneaking ahead in that one. So yeah, back to the drafts for the time being. And the Hittites winning up against the Chosen. And like I said, I was a little bit skeptical about Vertex's civs for Citadel. So Unrestricted does take the advantage there. So Vertex does have a couple of nice civs left over for the next couple of maps. Egyptians and Palmyrans still left for Unres, and we had Citadels there. So we're only going to see 2 more games at maximum. Because like I said, Unrestricted started with a 3-game win. So we'll only see 6 games to be played. I would have thought Unrestricted, well, actually no, it's Vertex's choice now, so presumably he's going to take this to Rivers, and I imagine just Karth is going to be the choice there. And yeah, what is the choice from Unres going to be? It's going to be a little bit difficult for any of these civs to match up into Karth. Yeah, I presume Egyptians would be for inside out, but it's hard to say. And let me just check to see if the lobby is launched. Jesse's calling another Rivers game. I mean, Vertex is likely to pick Rivers as the next map. He doesn't have to choose it. I've not actually been catching up with, like, since I started covering Return of Rome games, I've watched hardly any AoE2. I used to watch basically every big tournament for AoE2, but I've not felt like I've had the time to do both in recent times. But yeah, looks like the game has launched, so let us get into the next game. And it is Palmyrans. Yes, we are Rivers, and it is Palmyrans against the Carthaginians. So, big lake section in the middle here. And we do have 3 crossings. Again, we have 3, and there's a little pool in the bottom corner there, which if Unrestricted does find, that could be quite nice for him, but obviously it's quite a long way from his base. He does have a little bit of extra water at the back. I don't know how many. There's 9 and a deep fish. Yeah, that's probably worth docking. I don't know if Unrestricted finds that because it's just at the edge of the map, but not impossible. But yeah, 2 crossings quite close together here, so that'd be quite an important place to control if the game does extend onwards into the further reaches of the Tool Age and beyond. I imagine with Vertex having played fairly aggressive in pretty much all the games so far this series, that we should probably see a forward play from him and as the Carthaginians. That should be pretty unfair map. It's just random maps, man. That's how it goes. I don't think it is that unfair, just because like this is theoretically advantage, but Unrestricted has to find that, and what are the odds that he does find that in the early game? But yeah, like I said, Carthaginian is going to be much stronger in the early game than the Palmyrans, but the Palmyrans' economy never to be sat on. You've got to be careful that you can't just get those villages set up and that economy flowing. So yeah, like I said, I'm almost certain Vertex will be going forward. It'll be interesting to see how Unrestricted does play this, if he goes for maybe a 16 pop-up and tries to play a little bit more aggressive himself, or if he does try to play a little bit more greedy. Neither player's done too much exploration. Actually, Vertex has kind of spotted them, well, water. He doesn't necessarily know this is like a large lake just yet. Yeah, just quite close to yeah, just should find the first crossing actually almost straight away. Unrestricted having a look around now. And it is just a single villager in the queue. So are we going to stop on 16? No, we add in a couple more vills. Or, well, a singular vill. And do we see the vills spotting each other here? Looks like that's not going to be the case. And Unrestricted is in a slightly odd spot. Like, yeah, I think Vertex is going to assume his opponent is in this area of the map, which is why he's going there. Because that's like pretty much opposite where he is. So, might have a little bit of a trouble finding his opponent. Unrestricted going across as well now. Does he see the berries? He doesn't quite see the berries there. That would have been a pretty good tell that he was in the right area. I'm not. It's a little bit. Seems unusual that Unrestricted would go out this way. I feel like Unrestricted should have a better idea of where his opponent is. It's very unlikely his opponent would be in this top corner there. So that strikes me as slightly odd. 19 vills is the uptime from Restricted. Only 34 on idle time from Restricted is not too shabby as the Palmyrans. You can see 31 from Vertex, and he's added that extra villager. So Unrestricted is going to be able to get up to the tool age slightly faster. Don't know if that villager spotted that first Unrestricted villager. Barracks does go up. The artifact did see Unrestricted's base there, so Vertex does know. Is Unrestricted going to go for the forward, or is he going to play from home? He is going to play from home. I think, again, this is another situation where like you have the Civ advantage in terms of the eco. So it makes sense to play defensively and let your Civ bonus do the work for you. Carthaginian Civ eco bonus is very nice in the early game, but can only obviously extend so far. First AXA, well, Clubber I should say, is in. Unrestricted should easily be able to deal with this Clubber though, if he wishes to. Archery range coming down. There is still a little gap between the buildings there, but yeah, Palmyran village is not threatened really at all by Clubman. And small wall just to plug up the gaps there. Ooh, doesn't quite get the hit down on that. So this next Clubber is going to come in. But again, with needlework in, this Palmyran village is going to be more than a match for the Clubbers. The upgrades are coming in now. And Unrestricted does have this, like I said, he does have this little bit of pullback here. He's maybe seen it a little bit. And there we go, just close that up. He's got, yeah, reasonable space to work with here. Although he's going to be having to go onto the farms fairly soon unless he gets a dock up on here. Like if a dock could be sat in just the corner there, that would be fairly nice. One axe is still chilling. Well, I say chilling, it's being chased down by Bowman, so he's not really chilling, is he? He's dead, unfortunately. But we did have that, yeah, that forward villager did come out, and that's a sneaky archery range. And I don't mind this. I would have been, like I said, if the barracks had been built forward, that would have, I feel like, been a little bit too aggressive from Unrestricted on the Palmyrans. But I don't mind a sneaky archery range. I'm a big fan of that. Watchtower's been built on the town centre. That leaves the wood line completely open. Is Unrestricted going to close in? Close the distance, get right on top of the villagers to get the damage in. One villager goes down, that's going to be two. And I think, yeah, no needlework. Vertex has always been quite reactive, getting that tech instead of proactive. And 5 villagers going down very quickly there. Big damage done. And Unrestricted should really be chilling now. Yeah, huge hit, as Jesse says in the chat. And I mean, this watchtower is not really covering anything. It's kind of defending these villagers on the elephants. But Unrestricted has enough bows that he can just dive under and try and pick off a few villagers here and there. I think this villager will get away. 2 villagers here, though. Gonna go for a run. Just about staying alive. And the forward push, there is still some remnants. But yeah, Unrestricted ahead, 13-5 in military count. Just this little sneaky bowman. Well, I guess technically bowman, but I meant archery range. And this one bowman, actually, this sneaky bowman, doing a lot of work here. And Yeah, I think this is what I would have liked to see, how Unrestricted play it as the Shang in game 1. Just barracks at home, make sure you're well defended, and then just play from there. Obviously we had the little extra addition of the sneaky archery range, and yeah, this is going to be like kill shot here, game on the spot. And now for 3, 4 villagers going down. Fifth one just about escapes, but 6 more villagers on the run here. 26 Palmyran villagers, remember, as well, to 22. And Vertex has had some very nice games this series, but I think this is going to be Unrestricted, putting the series home 4-2, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice Palmyran's game by Unrestricted there. And like I said, I'm very impressed with, I was very impressed by how little idle TC time Unrestricted had relative to for the Palmyrans, just because it is usual to have quite a bit more idle TC time. And like you can see, Vertex only 3 seconds less, and added the extra villager in. And like I said, the barracks at home to just make sure he had units to defend himself with. And again, Vertex, I feel like this is one of the mistakes he does, is he tries to overuse the clubmen too quickly, when like clubmen by themselves don't really do anything. So yeah, but yeah, Unrestricted just walls managed to. There was that one spot where the second clubber did get in. But yeah, very solid defensive play. And like I said, that archery range being stuck in the corner, ultimately winning the game there. Yeah, I think the third barracks was a little bit overkill. I think maybe just two barracks, because then it's like you're not committing as many resources. I was saying in that game I would have preferred if because you got 2 villager kills against Vertex, I would have preferred you just to build the barracks at home that game, and then just build up like an eco lead and then play from that. Because the game got very chaotic, and then Vertex managed to sneak in those bows around and get a lot of villager kills there. But yeah, like I said, well played from both players this series. Unrestricted ultimately coming through as the winner. So Vertex will take the 4th place position in the Earth to Iron tournament. Unrestricted will advance onto the... Why are you raiding me now? It's the end of the stream, but thanks for the raid anyway. But yeah, well played for Unrestricted. Like I said, he will play tomorrow in the losers final against Bongo in another best of 7. And I think it's probably going to be another close back and forth series. Like Unrestricted did have the free game win, quote unquote, but he still was up a game at this point, so arguably it would have been a good position regardless of the free win from the Vertex missing the scheduled time last week. So yeah, like I said, Unrestricted will advance on